Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to Mommy Trader, welcome. On this channel, I'm just documenting me and my family of five's journey to financial independence, and we are going to get there in the stock market, real estate, crypto, and just overall increasing our net worth. So hopefully that sounds inspiring to you and motivate you to get started on your own wealth building journey. So on today's video, we're going to be talking about why we don't want to be rich. Now, I know that sounds like an oxymoron when you just heard me say we are trying to build wealth or generational wealth. But let me just talk to you about the differences, and to us anyway, in terms of me and my husband, the differences between being rich versus this whole wealth mindset. Now, if I take you guys back a couple years when I was a teenager, more than a couple years, but a couple years when I was a teenager, I always just wanted to be rich. I saw it in the movies, I heard it in the songs that I listened to, the people around me, let's go to the casino, let's play the lottery, payday loans, different things like that. We just wanted to be able to get a big lump sum of money in our hands and our problems will be solved. And the biggest flaw with that type of thinking for us was that we weren't taught how to keep it. See, I think the biggest misconception about there in terms of money is that once you get it, or you always have it. And that is not the case. That is why a lot of your athletes, a lot of your musicians, your singers, your rappers, your actors don't have anything after, let's say, 4 years, 5 years, because they really did not have the mindset in terms of how do I keep this? How do I manage this? How do I get this money to grow for me over the long term so that when this is done, I can have something to live off of? And we were thinking the same way. When I say we, my husband and myself, it was just, oh my goodness, if I could just win the lottery, if I could just do this, all of my problems will be solved. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. Having access to more money does help in a lot of instances. It gives you more opportunity. It gives you access to different things. It allows you to experience and see and go through doors that might not have been otherwise available to you. So I'm not, ignorant in that sense. What I am saying is that this whole idea for us in terms of just wanting to be rich actually got us to over $75,000 of debt. Because when we got money in our hands, tax refunds, bonuses, because remember, I grew up in the hood. My husband grew up in the hood, and tax time was like Christmas time where we grew up. Okay, guys? It was like better than Christmas. Everybody had new clothes, new shoes. We were all eating good. We were all going to the movies, getting our hair done, different things like that. And I can tell you, a couple months after, it was back to how we're going to pay the rent, how we're going to pay the light bill, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that. Because the mentality of receiving, a lot of money at once in terms of having to budget it, manage it, making sure that you put some away for a rainy day, maybe pay off a bill or two, get caught up, was not in the forefront of our thinking. And as we got on this wealth building journey, so we've been on this journey for 6 years. We started with paying off our debt, over $75,000 worth. Then we started to build up an emergency fund. Then we started to buy a house. Then we wanted to know how to, invest in real estate and build businesses. And we are here at this moment right now. But I can tell you that when we first started paying off debt and we started to read more and educate ourselves more about how to get our money to do more for us, we started to transition our thinking from just wanting to be like rich to wealth. And I can tell you another thing that really switched our mindset is that when had this kind of rich mentality, it was very much just kind of showing off. We wanted to pull out a wad of money out of our pocket. We wanted to wear our money. We wanted to drive our money. And when we started to transition to this whole wealth mindset, we started to realize that we didn't need to do any of that. Why? Because our money was actually out there working for us. We didn't have time to put it on and to drive it. Why? Because our money was at work, making sure that it got a good return for us. And I started to understand that, wow, a lot of people who are wealthy, like your Warren Buffetts, your Bill Gates, even if you see Elon Musk, he doesn't like necessarily wear the money in terms of you see designer stuff all over him, and They may have nice clothing, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's written all over so everybody can see, like, I got the money. Not saying if you want to do that, you can, but I'm just saying this is what has helped us to get where we are today, is that we don't have to prove anything to anyone. If we like that, that's different. But if we're buying it and using it and doing it to show others what we have, that is a dangerous path to go down. That's, like I said, that's one of the ways we got into $75,000 worth of debt, is trying to impress people with things that we don't have. And these people didn't even care about any of this stuff. And so once we started to educate ourselves and we started to understand, we got to put our money out there. We got to invest. Didn't know nothing about investing. Nobody we knew nothing about investing. But that wasn't an excuse, if that makes any sense, because of all the resources that's available out there, on the internet, social media. There's free podcasts and videos that will teach you. There's audiobooks like Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'll link that down in the description box. You can go on YouTube and just listen to the book. There's different resources to help change your way of thinking so that you can really get to, the end goals that you have set for yourself. And so, this whole wanting to be rich also spawned when I saw people growing up that came in a lot of money and just was going around saying that I'm rich, 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 was very mean. They were very mean and condescending. Don't ask them for nothing. Now, I'm not saying people won't try to use you, but don't ask them for nothing. They just don't want nothing to do with you. It was just this attitude that came with it that was just very off-putting, and you just didn't want to be around them. And that was not something that my husband and myself ever wanted to be. And when you feel like you have all of these riches, you can act and do and be a certain way. But you notice a lot of people who really identify themselves as wealthy are very generous, very giving, will donate millions and millions of dollars, because to them, money does not mean I am better than you. Money means I have access to time and freedom. That was key for us, guys. We started to realize that if we work on building up our wealth, building up our net worth, we could actually have the time to do the things we want. And when I'm talking about do the things we want, my husband has talked about for years having his own company, running his own business, doing the same thing he does now, but just starting his own. That takes time and it takes effort and it takes money. And if he is devoting all of his energy to someone else's dream, because at the end of the day, when he's working for another company or I'm working for another company, it's really for someone else's dream and goals and desires. And then by the time we do reach traditional retirement age, if we're alive at that point, we cannot do that. And so we started to realize that, oh my goodness, if we change our mindset from just wanting to be rich, rich, rich to building wealth and learning how to manage and get our money to work for us, we could actually build our own company. We could actually put time into passion projects, maybe volunteer, maybe donate more, because we have the resources. And if we even nibble off of those resources, our money is still continuing to work for us. And I can tell you that when we really understood that concept of using our wealth or our money to buy us time and freedom and choice, we were sold. We were sold. And the sacrifices that we needed to make to get there, because if you're trying to achieve anything in this world, anything that will benefit you or your family positively, especially financially, some sacrifices are going to have to be made. I cannot tell you guys so many times that we may wanted to buy a new car or do this or do that. And I'm not saying you can't enjoy life, but financially, if you're trying to get to a certain point, some sacrifices are going to have to be made. See, when we had this rich mentality when we first got together all those years ago, it wasn't really about making a sacrifice. And when I say even making a sacrifice of putting some aside to save for later, that's a sacrifice. Putting some aside to maybe get caught up on a bill. We were thinking about the right here and right now. Whereas wealth teaches you to think about the right here and right now and the later. And the later after that. That is what wealth teaches you. And so it's something that we had to learn. It took us years. It took trial and error, trial and error, trial and error to learn how to know what the difference is, and to be able to be comfortable with the path that building wealth requires. It requires a sacrifice. It requires you staying knowledgeable and educated and on top of your finances. It allows you to, stay connected, which is one of the reasons why I started this channel, was to show people that, you don't have to be afraid to look at your finances. And I know that sounds kind of, like what? But yes, we were at that point at one time. We were scared to pull our statements and look at it. We knew it was bad. We just didn't know how bad it was. But I'm telling you, it's one of the best things you can do, because you know where to start now. You know where your starting point is, so that you can go from there. And it's the same thing we're trying to teach our children as well, is that you don't want to feel like, I just want to be rich, just get all this money all at once and have no idea what to do, but rather get into this wealth building mindset that when you get $1 or $10, think about how you can break that up to do different things that you may want to do and still allow that money to grow for you. So maybe my daughter, for example, she gets $10 for doing like something, I forgot. $10. She took $1 and she put it away to give. She took $3 and she saved it. And then she took the rest of her money and went to the dollar store and wanted to buy candy and little trinkets like that. That is the wealth building mindset, because she saved some, she gave some, and she was able to splurge. That is what we're trying to teach our children, versus giving them $10 and they use all of it in the store. And so that's just what I wanted to chat about with you guys. I didn't want to make this video super long. I really just wanted to get to the point of this whole change in our way of thinking, because this is how we got to this point during the 6 years, from negative 75,000 to most likely hitting $1 million status by the end of this year, or before the end of this year. Changing how we view money, how we view finances, investing. I can tell you, I listened to Warren Buffett do an interview. He's been investing since the 1950s. And one of the things he said he had to do was to adapt. He had to learn how to adapt. He had to continue to read books, educate himself. Why? Because the world moves on. It's always evolving and changing. If you're not, available to, lend yourself to that process in terms of staying on top of your finances and how, things in the world are impacting you, you'll get left behind. And that's why I'm always on here talking about educating yourself. Read. There were times where I would listen to an audiobook while I was nursing my son. Maybe if I'm folding up laundry, I would listen to a podcast. If I'm driving in the car with the kids from school or sitting in traffic from work, I would listen to something. If I was in the tub just relaxing, I would have my tablet and I would put on, a show on YouTube or something like that. Just any opportunity I had to really take in knowledge in terms of finance, I used it. And my husband did the same thing. There were times he would fix the car or he would be repairing something. He would have his phone on the side. He would be listening to something. These are all opportunities that we use to change our mindset in terms of money. And I can tell you that it was one of the best things that we could have done for our marriage, because it relieved a lot of arguments, a lot of disagreements, a lot of fights, a lot of almost divorcements over money, because a lot of people separate over money. It's one of the leading causes outside of infidelity is money. And that's something that I feel like we are now so connected, so tight on now. And a lot of it is due to having a different mindset. So leave a comment down below, guys. Do you agree with me? Do you, see some error in some of the things that I was talking about? I know personal finance is personal, but I really do like having these types of conversations, especially when it comes to how we think and view money as a whole, or finance as a whole. So leave me a comment down below. I love talking with you guys. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, guys. Come on, subscribe. Don't forget to follow me over on Instagram as well. Information is in the description box below. Share this video with a friend so we can get more of this information out there to the masses, okay? So that, as Wall Street trappers say, Wall Street can look like us now, us people. So yes, thank you guys so much again for watching, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.